Hello, it's Ken again. And there's a dealership here in Pittsburgh called Kenny Ross, and his motto was always, he's still around. I think he's doing pretty well still. He's been around over half a century because I remember him as a young man. Kenny Ross Chevrolet. And the motto was, you get plenty from Kenny. I don't like my name is Kenneth. I don't like Kenneth, and I don't like Kenny. I do like Ken. Or in the military, I was called Ski because my last name ends in S-K-I, Archelinsky. I like Ski and I because it sounds heroic. Anyway, and Ski was used a few times for heroes. I think okay, I had forgot to turn this on, so this video, I was talking for over 30 minutes just now, and I looked down at the time and I noticed there was no time on my screen. And I looked over to the start button and I had not hit it yet. So I talked to a dead screen and to nobody for probably 40 minutes. So here we go. This is video number 22, and today's date is the 24th of February, 2025. And the topic today, that first one must have been that I didn't have the recorder on, must have been for practice. So here we go. Today I'm finally getting to serious, I think, insight, a blessing from God to me that I am to share with you. What is truth? Truth. What is it? Okay. And so I'll talk to you a little bit, and then I'll hold that sign back up. Nobody, not Socrates, Plato, Einstein, Sir Isaac Newton, this last guy in the wheelchair that everyone raved about, genius, none of them. And some of these people, I mean, we've had our fill of philosophers. Asking what is truth is a philosophical question. But it turns out it's also a religious question. I'm here to give it to you. You've never got it before? To my knowledge, you've never heard this. To my knowledge, no one has ever given the proper understanding of what and definition of what is truth. Now, it's in the Bible with Christ associated with our Lord twice, maybe even other times. But the two primary ones that come to mind is John 14:6. Christ said, I am the way. Okay. The truth. Oh, the truth. The truth. And the life. Well, see, we can understand the way. Okay, he is the path or the way to salvation. He's also the eternal life path to eternal life. Now, the truth in that setting, in that verse 14:6, could mean that he is among the truth. But I believe in this verse, John 14:6, Christ is actually giving his name. His name is Jehovah, the I am. Now that's all through the New Testament, by the way. In Greek, it's ego eimi. I am. And that's how it's pronounced in Greek. It's funny about Greek. I get on the translation on the internet and have them speak it in the Greek accent, and I can't even recognize it, the word. But anyway, let's get back. The truth. Also, then, in John, I have to look, 8:38, Pilate, Christ before Pilate goes to Jesus. Hey, Jesus, you just mentioned truth. What is truth? So Pilate asked Christ, what is truth? Now, he did not realize it. Truth was standing in front of him. Now, I'm going to give you a definition that you've never heard of truth explained this way. Not by all the men I mentioned, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Einstein, and Newton, and others, geniuses like this, of both science and thought, have never defined it like I'm going to define it right here. So I hope you can appreciate what God has given us. Well, I have to pause here for a moment. I shouldn't have to, but I will. Why does a nobody like me think they come up with something that's never been given us by God up until now? See, I'm giving you insight, brand new, N-E-W, insight about truth. It's coming, you're going to get it, you'll understand it, you may not believe it and then throw it away because people are foolish. That's how sure I am of this insight, to actually call you fools if you have the intellect and the background to know a little philosophy and can't understand or appreciate the answer I'm going to give you here and now, then you're foolish. You're fools. At least you're acting as a fool. Here it comes. I'm going to give you what is truth. Well, see, truth is, I'm going to hold this up. You don't need to see my face, but you do need to see this. Truth is made up of two primary things. Must be eternal, and it must be immutable. Immutable is a fancy word that means it's unchanging. Well, when God told Moses his name, I am, which we translate, because I don't want to say it using our pronunciation starting with Y, the letter Y. I'll say Jehovah. Simply means I am that I am. Okay, and that name, by the way, in all of Judaism, Christianity, is that I am is called the Tetragrammaton, fancy theological name for I am, given there and to Moses. So the I am, what even you guys, Christians, average Christians, not you guys. I'm not talking down. I don't mean it to sound like that. But even the average Christian, there you go, understands I am as being I am that I am means unchangeable. He's saying immutable. I am immutable, and that's the epitome of unchangingness. Is in the name of I am that I am. Okay, is in the name Jehovah. However, the catch and the trick and the super duper insight that God laid on me and now on us is that you got to be eternal in the past. See, all creation, including the oldest and first made angel, could be Satan, Lucifer, or they could all have been made at the same moment. It doesn't matter. All creation, including the oldest things I can think of, created things, is the angel. So even the oldest angel changed. Well, how did they change? If they changed, then they can't be perfectly immutable. Well, they changed from non-existence to existing, being made. Now, God didn't have that. That separates him. You can't be perfectly immutable unless you're eternal in the past. In the past. All of us creatures, humans and angels, we're going to exist for eternity. That's what makes, in my opinion, hell. Not everyone is going to get the same amount of punishment in hell. And because God is fair. And Christ says, to the servant that does not know to do well and doesn't do it, sin of omissions, let's say. Um, he deserves less stripes or punishment than the servant who knew better to do well and didn't do it. That type of a sin of omission. Well, he just didn't obey. The first one didn't know enough to the fact that he screwed up, but it wasn't intentional and it was a mistake. And let's say it cost lives, well, maybe they would demote him, that servant. But let's think on military terms or in police. You mess up, get people killed. You may not hold your that rank anymore. You might even get kicked out. But you kind of have to pay some sort of a price. Well, see, now I've already dragged myself into a philosophical question, unnecessary right now. But that's what Christ said. There's different levels of punishment. So some of you, most people are going to go to hell that comparatively with other humans live a good life. And they go through their suffering here and their losses and their deists or theists doing their best. Well, obviously not thinking they're doing their best to find out who is God, what does he want from them, from me. That's by the way, that's the name of my book. Who is God and what does he want from me? And I wrote it I published it in 2009. So that is 16 years ago. Math's not up to par right now. Anyway, so getting back to it, the truth is, in living color, the truth is Christ, is God. And only the triune or the Trinity, the three persons in one, fit that definition of immutability in eternity past. Okay, and that's why I can't be God. That's why Lucifer can't be God. He can't be the truth. Not just because he's the father of sin and of lies, Lucifer, but because he doesn't fit the proper definition. So the definition of truth is immutability, two attributes. Immutability is one, never changing, and eternalness past. We're all going to go eternally. Now that we exist, we're going to exist eternally. But there was a time we didn't exist. I was born in 1949. So let's say in 1948, Ken wasn't there. Wasn't anywhere. Except in, my dad's loins, maybe. I mean, that's sort of like a cliche. And I didn't exist yet. And, and we come from people that were made out of dust and then out of the rib. And that's Adam and Eve. And they came from dust and a rib. Adam was made from the dust of the ground, and Eve was nicknamed, for an apropos reason, Adam's Rib. There was a movie made titled Adam's Rib, I think, in the 50s. It probably followed a successful novel named the same thing. Who knows? But yeah, there was only God. You can't find a time or an eternity that God wasn't already there. You can't. So that makes him unchangeable. That makes every creature, including angels, fallen or not, mutable, or because they changed from non-existence into existence. God didn't do that. So that's the separation. That is it. Truth, if it's truth, cannot change. Now, I learned this recently, and this is how God opened my eyes to this, is that there's people out there, the scientists, and I don't want to name names, but the people that we like to listen to, they don't always put it in your face, but if you look, research them even a tiny bit about their feelings about, do they believe in God? Are they theists or atheists? And a lot of them are theists, but that's as far as it goes. They don't pick a particular religion, Christianity or Judaism or any other major religions, including the false religions like Roman Catholicism. Nothing. God's out there, I think. Most of them will keep that secret, even if they're atheists. But because it gets them in trouble with their other dummies, and they are dummies. So, truth is, again, I'll try to wrap it up. Truth, at least the definition, and I'll talk a little bit of something else, related stuff behind it. We're 15 minutes into this. Here's truth. Truth is something that has to be made up of two things: unchangeableness or immutability, and eternalness. It has to be eternal. If it's not eternal, then it changed, and that erases its immutability because it changed from non-existence to existence. You follow? That is it. Okay, now this is some of the spokes or the loose strings back there that I'm going to start throwing into that definition. I want you to look at this definition and write it down so you can look at it later. Truth must be unchanging, or it's not the truth. And it must be eternal, because on the fact that if it didn't exist at one time and then came into existence, then it changed. So also they're connected. Immutability and eternalness go hand in hand, and you can't separate them. And they together make up the concept and the word and the thing truth. All right, now here's the spokes of the wheel. And this is where this is the icing on the cake. If you can remember what I just showed you on the paper, write it down, you've got it. But let me fill it in a little bit, okay, with fillers. All right, truth. Back when Moses asked God his name, God said, "I am that I am." That implies, but really means, that God is eternal and he's unchangeable. Those two concepts are right there in that name. I am and he says that I am. Again, that I am speaks to immutability. I am. Not I was, not I will be, but I am. And there you go. To that point. So I am is teaching us that God doesn't change, and he always was. That's eternalness, okay? He doesn't change. That's immutability. It's getting hard for me. Let me take a sip of coffee. See my coffee pot? Let me point to it. Right there. That's a whole pot. I'll go through that, and then I'll start drinking tea. This is all to brace me to get through this. Teaching is hard. It's work. And I've learned too, if you impart true spiritual things, just like Christ said, "Who touched me?" Because I felt, something, power leave me. When Christ got touched by that woman when he was in that crowd. I've experienced it. My sister, who I led to Christ, and is just an old widow anymore. She's like 78 or something. She lost, whatever. She lost her husband, of course, her only child, but she's got two grandkids that love and take care of her. She's not an evangelist. She's a nothing like me. But she tells me that when she preaches to people, on the phone, she doesn't go out. She doesn't even go to church anymore for the same reasons I don't. Because most of the pastors are egomaniac businessmen. Okay. Narcissists. And I think the truth, the more you're blessed in truth, the more filled up with that kind of crap at churches within Christendom, you get. You know, when you're not quite that aware, it's here. But I went up to here, and then I'm up to here with it. I quit going to church. I can't pause this. Hello. Excuse me. I'm making a video right now, and I can't pause it. You want to come up? Yeah, come up. See it? All right. And I have to hang up because I want to finish this. All right, bye. That's one of my young friends that are helping me. That's why I made sure I had to answer it. And I can't pause these videos right now. I'm going to ask him what's wrong, because when I pause a video like this to answer a phone or something, everything, when I take it off pause, everything that follows is the audio and the visual are out of sync. I mean, my mouth's moving and you don't hear me say anything. You can understand that. His name is Alec, and he's the older of the two boys, and he's going to help me figure out and learn more about what I'm doing, the technical end of this video making. So I'm going to finish this subject to my satisfaction. Right now I'm 22 minutes into it. That's not too bad, because I try my best to keep things under 30 minutes. And the more under 30 minutes I can keep it, the better, because people's attention span is short. So, truth. Tying in truth. The definition of truth is directly tied into string-wise, or loose string, or string-wise, or in my case, using my allegorical bicycle spoke wheel, is tied into the tetragrammaton, or the fancy name for the I am that God refers to himself as. And it's also now, because of the New Testament, tied into the Messiah, Jesus. Because Jesus called himself the, capital T-H-E, truth. Not a truth, the truth. And by the way, I believe in the Greek there's a direct article for I am the way, the truth, the life, okay? And a direct article means that's it. That's the end of the line in understanding how far deep into the subject. The answer of the truth, not a truth, is Christ, and then therefore God. Because another string says God's three people, and yet one. Well, they can be one by, again, some of this is philosophical. Okay, it has to be. The question of what is truth is a philosophical question that also happens to be a theological question, because Christ called himself the truth, and so did, I believe, Christophany, because nobody's seen the Father. Christ even said that. So the person of the Trinity that probably was speaking to Moses that gave his name was probably the Son, was probably Christ. Christ seems to be the final liaison, top of the line liaison between the Father and humanity. Certainly humanity, maybe, Anyway, and it's kind of a mystery, so I can't be too definite about things. Oh, Bobby, I'm making will you just get this for me and take it?
Call from Genesis Medical.
This happens when you're serving Christ.
Genesis.
Good, my wife got it. Yay! That's my doctor's office. Get to know too much of him. As you get older, you get to know doctors and all their families and all their kids' names. And every lock that ain't locked when no one's around. You know that. If you're my age, you know that song. But, okay, what am I doing here? Where am I? See, nothing else had interfered. Broke my train of thought. I'm surprised, we're not getting the birds, an attack of crows against my window that's right back behind me with my Remco Bulldog tank, which is a bucket list item for me. Just got it, made from 1950s, and it's battery powered. Back then, in my house, we had kind of an outhouse. We didn't even have a formal bathroom. I don't know where my parents, I guess they went down too. My mom would take us down in our dirt floor basement and heat up water on a stove, put it in one of those big metal, I call them number 10 tubs, wash tubs. Back in the middle of the 20th century, they were metal, and she gave us baths. First my sister, and then who would be finished, get dressed. And then I'd come down and my mom would, help me. And this is, of course, we're grade school children, young grade school children, like 5 years old or something before that. Anyway, it broke my attention. It's easy to get me on tangents and rabbit holes. I'm going to keep showing that in the background. So that I lost my place. If I pick it up in the wrong place, and I reiterate, I'm sorry, that's the best I can do. I want to get this in one shot. 27 minutes in. Oh, these are the strings attached to the fact that truth has to be two things. And the two things can stand as a complete definition. And the complete definition of truth is immutable and it's eternal. End of definition. Now I'm giving you filler. The filler is what I would call, back here, the strings that are attached to that truth. And the strings are in a form of this allegory or analogy, whatever, as spokes in a spoke wheel. You always need more information to kind of fill it out, or be the icing on the cake, or the filler. It is following. Christ was probably the person of the Trinity that spoke to Moses when Moses says, can I take your name back to these people? And can you tell me your name? And God said, yeah, my name is I am. And then he expanded it a little bit and said, I am that I am. Again, inferring through the very name and the title that he's eternal and that he's immutable. Well, voila. You've got eternal, you got immutable, you got God, then you got what? Truth. Truth. There it is. Immutable. You got these two, you automatically get this. And it's a closed system, the Trinity. Because of those two that make truth, it's a closed system. Nobody else but the Trinity can fit into that little club of three-person club, let's say, or definition of truth, because they got to be unchanging, and they have to be eternal, not to have changed from non-existence changing into existing. It's a change. That's the point. That's the hook. That's the little insight that can make this definition of truth proper and true and insightful, because I don't think anyone has caught that. Or if they have, they didn't write it down. And if they did, it's been eliminated. That's another string I'll say to you right now that's partially attached to the definition of truth, is the fact that things you don't know, but through from generation to generation, seminaries have redacted, edited, changed, eliminated certain beliefs, understandings of Scripture, put it in the back burners, and they're forgotten on purpose, because we do have Satan in our religion as a interloper, as a thief in the night coming in, not invited, not part of it, but like a little poison in the stew is what Satan is in seminaries. I'll give you another example, another spoke or string that is helps explain everything I'm saying to you, and I think you need to know this. I've come to the understanding too, another cookie from God is the book of Enoch. And Enoch's been kept from us through seminaries and through theology proper, Christian theology proper, through Satan's efforts. Now, the book of Enoch is not canonical. Don't misunderstand me. But it is apropos, it is essential to what's happening now and to what the fallen angels are habitually been trying to perpetrate, big words, upon humanity. And that is to infiltrate the human DNA and genome so that people are no longer fully human through DNA change, chemical change, that we get through these shots. If you're saved and you've already got one of these COVID shots, you have got a pretty good chance that your DNA is changed. If you're unsaved and get that shot, not all of them have that DNA change in it, I think. Some of them are placebos. But not only is there a DNA change in, I would say, the majority of these shots given out already, COVID shots, there's also a biological weapon that will kill you. And eventually, it's not, I mean, if these shots would kill everyone on the spot, and sometimes they do, there are videos of people sitting in those chairs you get. When you give blood, they sit you in a chair for a little bit, make sure everything's cool, give you a drink, you want some orange juice, and you're sitting outside, and you're still in the same building. Yeah, actually in the same room, but off to the side, sitting on a chair, till you get your sea legs to make sure everything's okay after giving blood. Well, they do that too for the shots in some countries, and people have dropped dead, fell off the chairs, and they're still here doing this, and it's like, ooh, over they go, and it's out there. If you contact me, I'll add them to my answer, and I've got probably a dozen such videos. Most of them, if not all, are overseas. Filipinos, I imagine China, and some in, I think, European countries. I'm scratching an itch that has been given to me perhaps as a thorn in the flesh. Paul got one that he didn't specify. He said it was given to him so he wouldn't be proud. He asked to have God relieve him, and God would not relieve him of that thorn in the flesh. He said, "My grace is sufficient for you." And Paul understood it as, and I'm sure rightly so he wouldn't get prideful and puffed up. Because Paul was, after Christ, in my opinion, Paul was the theologian of the church, of all the theologians. Paul the Apostle was Saul the Pharisee. And he studied under a guys called, I just had there's my help. Bobby, I forgot to tell you, bring him in and sit him down. I'll be with him, or send him in here. That's Alec. What can I say? This is okay. I'm going to keep it because this is my life. You should know who's telling you, who the person who's claiming to tell you the truth and truths and insights, and it should affect your life.
Get in here.
Okay. Hey, Bobby, I'm making a tape here. Oh, she locked them up. That's right. We have two overly friendly barky dogs that jump all over people when they first come in, and so one or both boys are going to be walking in here shortly. You might see them. And so, truth. You already got the definition, and the strings attached to that is where we get it from. I do want to know how I came about understanding change of a truth. Hey, okay. Are you Steven?
Way down,
okay. I'm going to wrap this up. You want to sit off to the side, take a chair?
Yeah.
You're not on screen. Okay. Why don't you say hi out loud?
Hi.
Okay, you can get on film if you want to sit behind me. Okay. Yeah, I'm at the end anyway. He's my help, and he's a good guy. Alec. What's your last name? No, don't tell me. You shouldn't go out on public with it right now. Shouldn't ask you for that. It's a dangerous world. Even being on this, what I'm doing, actually puts me in jeopardy. But I don't care. And not for this. It's an easy trade-off. My security for getting out what I think is absolutely essential, the gospel of Christ and some teaching. So that's it. The way I came into this is, and I understand truth, is all those scientists were thinking the physics that we've all been living under. Einstein sort of changed it. The physics laws, the laws of physics that we were all relying on until around Einstein and whoever the guy was that before Einstein, the late 19th century, discovered or introduced quantum physics, which is a different set of physical rules that seem to contradict what everyone used to think was truth, like the Bible truth, Newtonian physics. So Newton explained gravity. He invented, hey, Stephen, say hi, Stephen.
Hello.
Okay. Anyway, so my boys are here, and they're going to straighten this and educate me and fix, so I can maybe pause this in the future. You wouldn't get all this interference and phones ringing and me having to actually pick them up. Okay. So I was thinking, well, what happens to all these super scientists who are so proud of their own religion, but they don't realize it's a religion to them, called science? When their science, foundation, Newtonian physics, suddenly is being proven wrong at certain levels. Now, again, I'm not a scientist, but the difference to me, and this might be actually insightful, a way of saying it, but Newton laws of physics applies to this realm of existence. Now, this is a fat realm, okay? Here, this is the physical realm, but quantum physics deals with subatomic stuff that's smaller than an atom, subatomic. In there are things that contradict Newtonian things. I can't give you concrete examples. I can tell you one thing that I believe. In quantum physics, you have something called entanglement. I think they're protons. You get two protons together, electrons maybe, or maybe quarks or other things, but they're somehow entangled with each other. And so what happens to, let's call them protons, because I don't know better, but they're tiny and they're part of an atom, or even a part of an atom. They're that small. Whatever you do to the proton that's right here in front of me, or stuck on this brush. I got a proton here. It's making up this area of the atoms that make this up. Whatever happens to that instantaneously happens to another proton that's entangled with it, labeled as being entangled with it. Even if it's at the end of the universe, it instantaneously is affected the same way as the proton I'm holding up here. That goes, I'm sure that's got to go against Newtonian physics. And also it goes against the speed of light. Light as being claimed and said to be, that's the speed of light is the universe's speed limit. Nothing goes faster than the speed of light. Well, there's something going in such an entanglement. Something's not only going at the speed of light, because the end of the universe is about 14 billion years in length, and yet that distance means nothing in quantum entanglement. And so I'm sure Newton, when he made up his laws, that he wouldn't even imagine such a thing. So we have my point is that we went from what was considered truth by scientists, which in turn they believed so much in it that it was actually like their religion, certainly their idol that they worshiped at. Oh, you're talking science. Listen, we're talking about this, buddy, and we're having an argument. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to something that you can't argue against, because it's the truth. Interesting, huh? It's science. Well, no, your science now has changed, been contradicted by a new science called Newtonian. Quantum physics. Newtonian physics is now slowly being replaced by quantum physics. So if you were believing in this, now it's changed. See, it's changed. How's it changed? Because there's more knowledge coming in and proving this guy wrong in certain places and only in certain conditions. This would be your Newtonian physics. Your Newtonian physics deals with this level of existence, the size. See, there's something about size that's coming into this too. You know, quantum, you might as well figure synonymous with subatomic physics. This is not. This, and me sitting here, I'm not subatomic. I'm made up of atoms. Oh, excellent, great. You'll like this. Oh my. I'm almost done. Thanks, hon. Okay. My wife gave me. Ta-da! Anyway, I'm just waiting for this. I like it. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm buying a lot of things now late in life, like a bucket list, like my little Remco Bulldog tank back there. It works, by the way, and it's complete. And it cost me $150. But I want it. I'm not going to be in this plane or around too much longer, especially the way time seems to pass for me and probably all others in my age group. You get older, time just goes, what? It's Saturday again? Well, it was just Saturday the other day, like 2 days ago, right? No, it's Saturday again. 7 days have passed. 6 days have passed. Anyway, so I get myself toys and trinkets and little things that tickle me. God has allowed me, through a little extra income, to do such things. By the way, I give money away to family. I give money away to strangers. Not that I'm that rich, guys. I'm not. But God's going to give me, and I'm not going to give it to no darn church. I really should be giving some to. I have to remember to give some to people like in ministries that I know are real and aren't cheating and stealing. J. Vernon McGee, Through the Bible. Night Sounds. I was under a lot of distress for a few years, and Night Sounds, the guy that speaks, is soothing voice, the music's soothing, and it helped so much. I was at the breaking point. The good Lord was trimming my tree, you know, taking the dead wood off me, and testing me too. And other ministries like that, I give to. Now I've given to some ministries. Okay, this is the end of it. I'm 45 minutes. I'm not going to chat with you now. You people, and even me, I look at the length of a video, and that's half the reason if I'll listen to it, its length. If it's too long, I mean, I see things that 2-3 hours long. I don't even, unless the not the introduction, the title is so inviting to and necessary to look into, and I'll give it a chance. If it's nothing and it's not clear, I'll skip over it. Maybe I'll save it for a later date, and if I do that, then it's probably less than a 50-50 chance I'll get to it. And a lot of my teaching is on screen here. As you know, I go to Siri or whatever. I ask questions, which I should ask now. There's one you should know, and I was remiss by not writing it down before I started this. Where in Scripture did God give Moses his name, I am? Exodus 3:13. Now, my audio's been off for a while, so you're not going to get an audio voice. That's good. I could just shut it off. But it's Exodus 3:13. And it's where God said his name was not just his name, but who he is. Okay. The oneness of the Trinity, again, is through truth, being truth. What is truth? The oneness of the Trinity, the tiny 3-person circle of a 3-person group that no one else can get into because they don't qualify, is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit translates I am, translates truth, translate Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, and the Father. Now with that, my help's come. I've already made this longer than I want to. If you're out there, you haven't come to Christ, give it thought. Now ask me questions. Nobody in 9 or 10 days, but 22 videos later, has really asked me anything. And I don't charge anything. I'm a resource. Now there's better men and things and ministries out there. I think mine's a bit unique because I really do know what I'm talking about. There's people out there, they do their best, they want to serve Christ, and they get on and okay, but they generally talk in pablum. Yes.
We have a problem.
What?
We can't get the tractor off the hill.
Oh, you took it?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Where do you have a rope somewhere? I brought my quad too, so
all right.
Up with that.
All right. Well, as you can see, I'm called other places.
Oh, he did. Okay, you got it.
Okay. Yeah, I have a tractor and a bit of a hill, and the boys love the tractor. It's an attraction for them at my house. And I try to give these good kids, I'm trying to make an impression. I have not yet talked to them about Christ. And I have to be careful because they're both underage. And I already got my one neighbor, who's a Methodist, called. He was drunk, I think. And he gave me heck. Part of the explanation was I happened to say, those demons out there, or those spaceships out there are not spaceships, they're demons, and they're fallen angels. Well, he comes over, and then I gave him a brand new Schofield Reference Bible, $50 leather bound or so. So he called me over, called me from out of the blue a week or two later, and said, "What gives you the right to talk to my son about spaceships and UFOs?" And all right, pal, I know where you're coming from, and he's my neighbor, and that's how neighbors go. Now, and they were Methodists. It wasn't like I went over to But he was only 16 or 17, not a baby kid, a young man. And I thought, I want to lead everyone to Christ, and I'll take a chance. He couldn't arrest me. It's not like pedophilia to try to talk to Christ or a child about Christ. But it's the religion thing. But he saw an opening to give me a jab, and he did, and he was wrong. And never apologized. I did go over afterwards and say that what you did embarrassed me, and it wasn't right. I said, I led your son to Christ. I think all he said at the time, he didn't look at me. He was doing some yard work. He said, I think he said, I know. And see, I'm putting it out here so he can watch this and see it. I'm not going to hide him. I won't go and start an argument face to face with him. But if I would, if I had to, but it just serves no purpose. But this is the kind of stuff you run into, and it's related to these boys being here. So it's germane to this moment in time. It's now 50 minutes. God bless you. If you don't know Christ, ask me questions. Okay, I can answer more than most, and I have some insights. You just learned what truth is. Don't think this is just an average day and an average moment for you. Go ask your professor. Go ask your doctor, hey, what's the definition of truth? You're not going to get it. You just got it here. God bless you, and see you later.